The NBA GOAT debate is one of the most hotly contested debates in the world. Now, there are some who have their extra candidates they throw in there: Kareem Abdul Jabbar, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, and among other various picks that certain people have based on their own tendencies, what they've grown up with, etc. However, the general consensus is between two men: Michael Jordan and LeBron James. In this video, I will be showing you how one of these men is clearly better than the other, and there is no way that you could ever debate it. The debate mainly centers around two main things: statistics and rings. Now, I'm going to be starting by showing you a few things based around statistics. Let's get started on why Jordan is clearly better. So, a lot of people like to talk about statistics, so let's look at a few. So, here are some statistics. So, plain and simple, which player would you take? We have 27 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 1.5 steals, zero point 0.7 blocks, and 4 rings and 4 MVPs, versus 30 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game, 2.3 steals, zero point 0.8 blocks, 6 rings, and 5 MVPs. If you couldn't tell based on the stats, on the left is LeBron James, and on the right is Michael Jordan. Jordan acquired 2 more rings and an extra MVP in 7 less seasons than LeBron did, and is winning in every single statistic save rebounding, which is in essence a pointless stat. So let's look at a few more things based on his leadership. So LeBron James has averaged over 31 points per game for 4% of his seasons. Only 1 year did he ever average that. Michael Jordan has averaged over 31 points per game for 40% of his seasons. 10 times as high a percentage. Meanwhile, LeBron James took his team to the playoffs in 81% of his seasons, and Jordan took his in 86% of his seasons, and never really didn't other than his rookie year and when he was with the Wizards. Meanwhile, James won a scoring title only once in his career. Meanwhile, Jordan won 7 in a row in the 90s and the 80s. 7 straight scoring titles, and 10 combined between all of his wins. Meanwhile, if we look at a few more things like accomplishments, LeBron is 4-6 in the finals, while Jordan is 6-0 with 2 three-peats in there. Top points per games on Jordan beat teams: 27, 27, and 26 by Karl Malone and Charles Barkley, respectively. Meanwhile, top points per game on teams James lost to: 26, 25, 25 again, 20, and 16 a game. LeBron couldn't beat a team that was led in points per game with 16.7 in 2012. He could not pull that off. Meanwhile, Jordan was beating teams with 27 points per game. You see what I mean? Meanwhile, we look at career leaders, where Jordan leads in points per game, number 1 all time, steals per game, number 3 all time, and is pretty low in assists, but that's because he was so good with the ball himself, his tandem with Scottie Pippen, that he didn't need to assist other players. Meanwhile, James is 7th in points per game, 81st in steals per game, and 24th in assists per game. So not particularly high either. Meanwhile, in the playoffs, Jordan is number 1 in points per game and number 7 in steals per game, meanwhile being number 53 in assists per game. James, on the other hand, is number 6 in points per game, number 28 in steals per game, and number 20 in assists per game. You have to give credit where credit is due. LeBron does lead in assists, as he does spread the ball out a little bit more. But as you can see, Jordan makes up for that with his scoring. So, as you can see, I don't think there is really a debate as to why Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. A lot of people talk about LeBron's consistency and how he has stayed so good for so long, meaning he's automatically the greatest of all time. That doesn't constitute not having as many rings, not having as many MVPs, not having as many all-defensive teams, which isn't even close, and losing to unimpressive teams in the finals, and not making it there in certain years against not particularly stiff competition. We will see if LeBron can maybe get a 5th ring this year with him and Luka, but for now, Michael Jordan is, and likely will forever be, the GOAT.